Hello everyone, welcome to another installment of Erin's Book Club. I have another book review to do, and I couldn't really wait. I've got a lot to do today, so even with the horrible lighting in here, I'm going to do a book review. So, the book review that I have to do is the second book in the last Harold Mage trilogy. Now, the book I have is the, three books in one kind of book. So this one was Magic's Promise. So I just finished Magic's Pawn, and the next one is Magic's Promise. And before I go any further, I want to let you guys know that none of my book reviews are spoiler-free. So, as with my other books reviews, this one will contain spoilers. Now, I got this book finished a while back, and I didn't have time to do a book review then, so I wrote notes, and now I'm just trying to find the page that had all of my notes. Forgive the fighting here, the cats are hungry. So here it is. I read this book on the 12th of April. It's currently the 14th, so it's not that much of a difference, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the characters in this book before I moved on to the next book, because there's a huge chunk of this book that I think I either missed or the author didn't put in, and it kind of detracted from the entire story. The first thing I want to bring up is that it was a very dark book. Like, the character got no break. Vanel, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I'm just going to call him Van for short because it's Van Yells, I think. So, Van got nothing but beat up and kicked around and abused throughout the entire book. Like, I really felt sorry for him in the end. And again, a lot of it is him going internally and feeding off his own negativity, but a lot of it also seems to be that the character likes to be the punching bag for the author. I don't know. Also, I want to bring up before I go to the rest of my points is in the first book and in this second book, the main villain that he ultimately conquers, we don't really get to know anything about him until he faces off with him. And then as he's facing off with him, he's still this kind of shell of a human being that we don't know. We don't know the villain's motives. We don't know what the villain is thinking. We don't know anything about the villain, only that he's the villain. And I'm finding that it's really detracting from my investment in how this will end, because the villain is such a blank slate that you don't actually think that the character is really going to have that much harm brought to him, because we don't know enough about the villain. Kind of like the red shirts in Star Trek. You don't get to know them because you know they're going to be killed off. That kind of thing. So I'm really hoping that with this third book, I'll get to know the villain a little bit more. And again, because I've read it before, I should remember this, and I don't. In the second book, I didn't remember any of it, and there was a lot involved in this one. Didn't remember any of it. I find it interesting that Van is still struggling with his sexuality, and there was a part in this book where he was wondering, well, am I really gay, or did I just fall in love with I forget his main love interest, but he was worried that maybe he fell in love with his main love interest simply because that one was a male and he loved him so much that he was gay. And in the second book, there was a closeness shared between Van and the Queen. 1 minute. To a point where he thought, well, maybe I'm in love with the Queen. And what brings it all up too is the reason he's concerned about that is he's already had sex with the Queen. Only goal is to become pregnant so that she can have a child, because the king is infertile or sterile, and she desperately wanted a child. Now, on that note, where the hell did that happen in the first book? There was no interest in him fathering children, and when you open up into the second book, he's already spent his time with the adepts of the wild nature that helped heal him after the first attack. by the way, he fathered 2 children there too. So somewhere between the first and second book, Van became kind of a stud and was used to father children. Now, this was out of nowhere, and I don't know if Van would do that, being as emotionally scarred as he is, and struggling as he was. And I have a sneaking suspicion it's because these offspring are going to get books of their own. I don't know. I know that this series does continue after these 3 books, but I was kind of like, what the hell? Where did this happen? How did this happen? I want a book that tells me how this happened, because I don't know. And I felt cheated out of that, because I think that would be a very good story, and it's not there. All of a sudden, he's a father of 3 children, and there's no reasoning or explanation as to how or why that happened. So that was a wee bit frustrating for me. And there's absolutely no joy for the main character in both the books. And it was getting very difficult to read. And near the end of that book, when apparently death comes to him and gives him a choice to either live or not live, even that was sexual. Death was like a lover. But he never had a chance to have a real lover in his life. And it just was a weird concept that I was struggling with. And with all of this attention being paid to the companions in the story, or at least in the description of the story, and the fact that the Herald Mage are chosen by companions, in this book there was very little read about companions, more than, well, they're horse-like beings that support you. Like, there wasn't that much of interlogue or dialogue between the companion and Van. Like, and that was, for me, the main selling point of the book. And there was a lot more in the first book. And this book, like, the companion is there, but she's kind of put in the background. So that was hard to get to, too. And as second books go, I didn't enjoy it as much as the first book. I did enjoy it a lot, and don't get me wrong, I had a hard time putting it down to do like real life stuff, like, you know, adult stuff, like going to work and cleaning the house and that kind of thing. But there was a lot I needed answered that just wasn't answered, and there was a whole section there that, again, I felt cheated out of because I didn't see it happen. It was just, oh, by the way, he's a father. It's weird. It's weird. And I'm hoping that that will be answered in the last book. I don't know. But that's how I felt about Magic's Promise. Because I don't know. I liked it, but I don't know. I've already gotten a little bit into Magic's Price. Haven't gotten very far, but I have a few words about that too, and I'll wait till the final book review to do that. But if you guys have read any more of the Herald Mage series or that world, or maybe any more, I think there's a few that are based around this universe, let me know what you think. I also wanted to mention, I don't like this cover. You know, he kind of looks dead in the eye, and also the horse kind of looks dead in the eye, and the horse is supposed to be a sentient companion, and they just... I don't like it. I don't like the artwork. I don't like the cover. But I also saw the other artwork, and I don't know if I like the other newer covers either. So I'm conflicted. I still really, really, really enjoy the series as to this point, but now I'm a little bit worried what I'm going to see on the third book. But that's all I have to say about that for now, and I will let you know when I have another book read.